Captain Jack Harper stood at the bridge window of the Earthship Frontier. He watched the huge alien ship floating in the darkness of space. The ship belonged to the Rokorians, one of many alien species in the Galactic Coalition. Jack pulled at his tight collar and took a deep breath. After 6 months of careful talks between humans and aliens, his crew would finally visit Nexus Station. This massive space station served as the meeting place for all Coalition species. "This is a big moment for all of us," Jack told his crew. "We're the first humans to spend time on their station. The aliens still think we're primitive newcomers. Let's show them what humans are really like." Jack didn't know that Eliza Morgan, the ship's main scientist, had already made plans with KLZZT, the Rokorian guide. The tall, blue-skinned alien had invited her to visit the station's main gathering place, which he called an interspecies lounge. Eliza told Jack this was a perfect chance to study how different aliens behaved together. "It's not just about having fun," she explained. "We can learn so much about their social patterns." Jack frowned, but finally agreed. "Fine, but take Alan West from security and Maria Reyes from communications with you. Stay together and stay out of trouble." On the giant space station, 3 alien leaders watched the human ship dock. They stood in a special observation room with a clear view of the arriving Earth vessel. Xteek of the Vesperi looked like a 6-foot-tall praying mantis, with complex eyes and green armored skin. "These humans seem so soft and breakable," he said, his words translated by a small device on his chest. "They don't even have proper exoskeletons, just thin skin covering their bones." Galadrax, who represented the Morkans, made a bubbling sound, but his translator converted to laughter. The blue amphibian-like alien floated in a small tank of water that moved with him. "Don't judge them by their appearance," he warned. "They survived on a planet full of dangerous predators and constant wars. Our scientists call Earth a death world for good reason." The third alien didn't appear to have a body at all. Shimmer of Truth of the Tazar race looked like a floating collection of crystal shards that caught the light and broke it into beautiful patterns. When the crystal alien spoke, the translator produced a musical voice. "We cannot predict how humans will behave," Shimmer of Truth said. "Our computers have studied all available data about them, but their actions don't follow logical patterns. They do things that don't make sense. That's why we're watching them tonight," Galadrax replied. "The lounge will be a perfect test. Put them in a room with other species, add some intoxicating drinks, and see what happens." "I predict they will cause trouble," X-Dick said, clicking his mandibles together. "I predict they will surprise us," Shimmer of Truth countered an hour. Later, Eliza, Alan, and Maria followed Claus through the wide doors of the Nexus Lounge. The room was enormous, with windows showing the stars and ships outside. Dozens of different alien species filled the space. Some sat at tables while others floated in bubbles of special air. Serving robots zipped between groups, carrying drinks of every color and type. "Our lounge can serve 37 different kinds of life forms," Klost explained proudly. "Each species has their own safe drinks and food." Maria looked around with wide eyes. "And I thought finding a good bar back home was hard." Eliza couldn't stop smiling as she took notes on her small computer. "This is amazing. So many different species, but they all gather in groups just like humans do. Some things are truly universal." None of them noticed the 4 humans already sitting at the bar. These weren't crew members from the frontier. They were workers from a mining ship called the Rockhound. Their ship had been working in Coalition space for months, hitching rides on cargo vessels. The leader of the miners, a big man with a thick beard named Frank Daniels, was drinking something bright green. He was talking too loudly, and his 3 crew members watched nervously as aliens nearby began to stare. Across the room, The three alien leaders observed everything. The humans consume poison for pleasure. XD noted with disgust. That green liquid contains alcohol, which damages their brain functions. Many species enjoy mild toxins, Galadrax pointed out. But humans seem to seek stronger effects than most. Look there. Shimmer of Truth's crystals shifted position. The human in the uniform is approaching the louder humans. Alan had indeed spotted his fellow humans. Despite his better judgment, he walked over to them. "Hello from the Earthship frontier," he said, holding out his hand to Frank. "Nice to see other humans out here." Frank looked at Alan's clean uniform with narrowed eyes. "Navy, huh? You official types finally showed up? We've been working out here for months while you are playing nice with the aliens." "We're all representing Earth now," Alan said carefully. "First impressions matter." Frank laughed and took another drink. "You hear that, Vi? We're representatives now." He nodded to a strong-looking woman beside him, then pointed at the alien. "Observers. Well, I don't like how that bug thing over there keeps watching us. We're not animals in a zoo." The woman, Violet, put her hand on Frank's arm. "Take it easy, boss. Let's just enjoy our drinks." But Frank was already standing up, his face red. "No, I think it's time we introduced ourselves properly to our new alien friends." Alan's hand moved to his communication device. This was exactly what Captain Jack had worried about. He pressed the emergency button as Frank started walking toward the alien observers. Frank walked with unsteady steps toward the alien observers. His mining crew followed close behind. Violet looked worried, while the other two miners, Peter, a tall, thin man, and Sam, who had a long scar on his face, watched the room carefully. "Frank, this isn't a good idea," Violet said quietly. Frank ignored her. "So you folks been watching us all night?" He called out to the aliens. "Like what you see?" The insect-like X-stick raised his front legs slightly. The translator on his chest turned the movement of his mandibles into words. "We observe all new species that join the coalition." Eliza and Maria hurried over to join Alan. KLZZT, the Rockorian guide, followed behind them. His blue skin had turned a lighter shade, which seemed to show he was nervous. "Perhaps we should move to another area," KLZZT suggested. "No need," Frank said loudly. "If we're all going to be friends in this big galaxy, we should get to know each other better." He stepped closer to the aliens. Ezetic's compound eyes reflected the lounge lights as he stepped back. The crystal being, Shimmer of Truth, gave off a soft hum that grew higher in pitch. "Sir," Alan said firmly, "I think you should return to your table." Frank turned to look at Alan. "You don't give me orders, Navy boy. I've been out here working while you've been flying around in your fancy ship." "We're all representing Earth," Maria said, stepping forward. "Please don't make trouble," Frank laughed. "Trouble? I'm just being friendly." He reached out as if to touch Shimmer of Truth's crystal form. Alan moved quickly, putting himself between Frank and the alien. "No touching without permission. That's basic respect. You calling me disrespectful?" Frank's face grew red around them. Other aliens had stopped their conversations to watch. Some moved away from the humans, creating an open space in the crowded lounge. Gala Drax. The amphibian alien made a burbling sound. "Fascinating. Their body temperature is rising, and their skin tone is changing. Signs of emotional arousal. Threat display." X-stick clicked. "They may become violent." "Uncertain," Shimmer of Truth hummed. "Previous data shows humans often make loud noises without physical conflict." Frank poked Alan in the chest with one thick finger. "You think you're better than us because you wear that uniform? We've been hauling ore through Coalition space for months. We've earned our place here. No one is questioning that," Eliza said calmly. "We're all humans far from home. We should stick together." Then tell your guard dog to back off, Frank growled. Peter, the tall miner, moved closer to Frank. Boss, maybe we should just finish our drinks. Not until Navy boy here apologizes, Frank insisted. Alan stood his ground. I'm not looking for trouble, but I won't apologize for protecting Coalition citizens. At a nearby table, a group of small aliens sat in a transparent bubble. These were Clodens, who breathed methane instead of oxygen. They watched the human confrontation with wide eyes on stalks that moved in different directions. The bubbling ones are afraid, Shimmer of Truth noted. Their fear chemicals are detectable even through their containment field. With good reason, Exestic replied. Human aggression displays often precede violence. Klost stepped forward. Friends, please. This is not the impression we wish to give the Coalition. Stay out of human business, Frank told the blue alien. This isn't human business, Maria argued. This is about respecting other species and their space. Frank turned to Maria, another one telling me what to do. He swayed slightly, the green drink clearly affecting his balance. You've had enough to drink, Violet said, putting her hand on Frank's arm. Let's go back to our ship. Frank shook her hand off roughly. Get off me, Vi. The sudden movement made Frank stumbled backward. He bumped into Shimmer of Truth, whose crystal body gave off a high-pitched sound like breaking glass. Watch it, Alan said, reaching out to steady the crystal alien. Don't touch me. Frank swung his arm wildly. Alan ducked the clumsy punch with easy grace. His security training was obvious in his quick movement. That's enough. Violet tried to grab Frank's arm. Frank pulled away from her and lost his balance. He stumbled into Peter, who was knocked forward into Maria. She fell backward into Eliza, who tumbled against the table where the Clodens sat in their protective bubble. The bubble tore with a hissing sound. Alarms immediately blared throughout the lounge. Red lights flashed on the walls. A computerized voice spoke in multiple languages. Atmospheric breach detected. Methane contamination. Emergency protocols engaged. The Clodens made high whistling sounds of distress as their protective environment failed. Their breathing gas escaped into the main lounge air, while the oxygen, which was poisonous to them, flowed into their space without hesitation. Alan grabbed the nearest Cloden and ran toward a row of emergency chambers along the wall. These small rooms could be quickly set to different atmospheric conditions. Maria did the same, scooping up another small alien and rushing it to safety. Eliza and Colzit grabbed the Cloden 2. Violet, despite her earlier argument with Alan, immediately pulled an emergency breathing mask from the wall and gave it to the last Cloden. Even Frank seemed shocked into action. He stumbled to a control panel and activated the emergency containment field to prevent the methane from spreading. Through the entire lounge, the alien observers watched in shocked silence as the humans worked together to save the Clonens. They ... they're helping, Exestic said in disbelief. Even the aggressive one. Response time, less than 1 second, Shimmer of Truth noted. They switched from conflict to rescue instantly. They're saving another species before securing their own safety, Galadrax added. This contradicts all predicted behavior patterns. Station security officers rushed into the lounge, weapons ready. They stopped in confusion when they saw the humans already handling the emergency. The station's emergency systems kicked in. Clear walls dropped from the ceiling, sealing off different parts of the lounge. Air filters hummed loudly as they worked to remove the dangerous methane gas. Alan placed the Cloden gently into an emergency chamber and pressed buttons to fill it with the right gas mix. Maria and Eliza did the same with the aliens they had rescued. The small creature's eye stalks moved rapidly, looking at the humans with what seemed like surprised. Station security officers in special suits rushed in. Their leader, a tall alien with 6 arms named Officer Zex, approached Alan. Stand back from the clonins, Zex ordered through a translator. They need methane-rich atmosphere, Alan explained quickly. We've set the chambers to their environmental requirements. Zex looked confused. You caused this incident. It was an accident, Maria said. But that doesn't matter now. What matters is helping them. The security officers tried to push past the humans to reach the clonins. This only caused more confusion as the humans tried to explain they were helping, not harming the methane-breathers. Two security officers grabbed Frank, thinking he was still causing trouble. Frank struggled against them. Let go of me. I'm trying to help, Frank shouted. Violet stepped between them. He activated the containment field. He's helping. More security officers arrived. Some tried to pull the humans away from the emergency chambers. Others attempted to secure the area. In the confusion, one officer was knocked into a control panel, causing another alarm to sound. From across the room, the three alien observers watched in growing confusion. I don't understand, X-Steak chittered. The humans were fighting each other. Now they fight our security to help the clonins. Not fighting, Shimmer of Truth corrected. Protecting. Different purpose, same physical actions. Galadrax made a bubbling sound. Security doesn't understand. They think the humans are attacking the clonins. We must intervene, Shimmer of Truth said. The crystal being floated quickly across the room, followed by the other two aliens. Stop, Galadrax called to the security team. The humans are helping the clonins. Officer Zex turned to the alien leaders in surprise, but they caused the breach. Accidental. Ziddy confirmed. And their response was immediate and correct. The security officers slowly backed away from the humans. The station's medical team arrived and took over caring for the clonins. A small group of engineers repaired the damaged containment bubble. Captain Jack rushed into the lounge, his face tight with worry. He had received Alan's emergency signal and feared the worst. Instead, he found his crew members being thanked by small alien creatures. What happened here? Jack demanded. Eliza explained quickly about the accident and how everyone had worked together to save the clonins. Jack looked at Frank and his mining crew. I was told there was a fight. Frank looked down at his boots. There almost was. My fault, Captain. Had too much to drink and got mouthy. But when the real emergency happened, Violet added, Frank helped contain the methane leak. Jack nodded slowly. I see. The alien observers approached the group of humans. Shimmer of Truth's crystal body glowed with soft blue light. We have witnessed something unexpected, the crystal being said. Your behavior does not match our predictive models. What do you mean? Jack asked. X-Stick's mandibles clicked rapidly. You were in conflict with each other. Logic suggests you would continue that conflict or flee when a new danger appeared. Instead, you all immediately worked to save the clonins. Of course we did, Maria said, looking confused. They were in danger. But they are not your species. Galadrax pointed out. Most beings prioritize their own kind. Alan shrugged. They needed help. That's all that mattered. The three aliens looked at each other. Their translators couldn't capture the silent communication between them, but the humans could tell they were deeply surprised. The High Council must be informed of this, Shimmer of Truth said finally. Jack stepped forward. Is there a problem? Not a problem, Galadrax assured him. Something new. Something we have not seen before. Officer Zex approached again. I must report this incident. All involved must come to the security office. We understand, Jack said. We'll cooperate fully. As they walked out of the lounge, Frank moved beside Helen. Look, I'm sorry about before. I was being a jerk. Forget it, Alan said. You did good with that containment field. Quick thinking. Frank smiled slightly. Not bad yourself. moving so fast to help those little guys. At the security office, the humans were separated for questioning. Each told their version of what happened. The security officers seemed confused by how similar the stories were, even though the humans had no chance to coordinate their answers. You? All agree that the human Frank started the conflict? An officer asked Eliza. He had too much to drink, Eliza explained. It happens sometimes. Yet you say he helped contain the methane leak? Yes, when it mattered, he did the right thing. Ugh. Officer made notes on a screen. And none of you knew the mining crew before tonight? No, we just arrived on the station today. Yet you worked together as if you had trained for such emergencies. Eliza smiled. That's just what humans do in a crisis. In another room, the alien observers met with Station Commander Orvex, a massive being with armored skin and 6 eyes. The humans are dangerous, Zeke insisted. They nearly started a violent conflict in the lounge. Yet they saved the Clodens, Shimmer of Truth pointed out, with remarkable speed and efficiency. Both statements are true, Galadrax said. That is what makes humans so puzzling. Commander Orvex considered this. The Coalition has never encountered a species with such contradictory behaviors. The High Council must evaluate this new information. What will happen to the humans? Shimmer of Truth asked. For now, they will remain on the station under observation, Orvex decided. This incident requires careful consideration. 2 days after the incident, the humans remained on Nexus Station. They weren't prisoners, but they weren't allowed to leave either. Captain Jack paced back and forth in the meeting room, assigned to the Earth delegation. This is ridiculous, he muttered. It was just a bar fight that never even happened. Eliza sat at the table, reviewing her notes. It's more than that to them, Captain. The aliens are fascinated by how we behaved. A soft chime announced a visitor. The door slid open to reveal Shimmer of Truth, the crystal alien. The being floated into the room, glowing with gentle blue light. I hope I am not interrupting, Shimmer of Truth said. Not at all, Jack replied, trying to hide his frustration. Have you reached a decision about our status? The High Council is still discussing the incident. I have come to ask more questions, if you permit. Jack gestured to an empty seat. Please. Shimmer of Truth hovered above the chair. I have reviewed the security recordings many times. There is something I do not understand. When the Clodens were in danger, every human in the room helped, even though moments before, you were in conflict with each other. That's what people do, Jack said simply. But why? Your mining captain clearly disliked your security officer. Why would he then help in a crisis? Eliza leaned forward. Humans can separate personal feelings from emergency situations. Frank might not like Alan, but that doesn't mean he wants anyone to get hurt. Shimmer of Truth's crystals shifted position. This contradicts behavior patterns of all other known species. When two beings are in conflict, that conflict continues until resolved. It does not pause for another matter. Humans are complicated, Jack said with a smile. We can hold contradictory feelings and still function. In another part of the station, Frank and his mining crew sat in their own meeting room. Z-Tick and Galadrax had come to question them. Your captain says you dislike the military humans, X-Stick said, his insect-like head tilting to one side. Yet you worked with them to save the Clodens. Frank looked uncomfortable. Look, I was drunk and being stupid. But when people need help, you help. That's just basic decency. Even for aliens you just met? Galadrax asked, bubbles rising in his water tank. Of course, Violet answered. Life is life. Doesn't matter if they're human or not. Fascinating. X-Stick clicked his mandibles. You value all life equally? Frank shrugged. I wouldn't say equally, but enough to help if we can. Meanwhile, in the station's main control center, Commander Orvex met with the Cloden representatives. The small methane breathers had recovered fully from their ordeal. "The humans saved our people," the lead Cloden said through a translator. "We wish to thank them formally." "The humans also caused the danger," Orvex pointed out. "Accidentally," the Cloden replied. "Their response is what matters. No other species has ever reacted so quickly to help us. Most beings find our methane atmosphere too disgusting to approach." Orvex's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "You raise an important point. The humans showed no disgust or hesitation. They treated us as equals worthy of saving," the Cloden said. "This is rare in our experience." That evening, a special meeting was called. All the humans, the alien observers, and representatives from 12 other species gathered in a large conference room. Commander Orvex presided. "We have reviewed the incident from all perspectives," Orvex announced. "We have reached some conclusions about humans that the High Council must consider." The room fell silent. Jack glanced at his crew, then at Frank, and the miners. Everyone looked tense. A large screen showed recordings from the lounge. The aliens watched again as the humans argued, then suddenly worked together to save the Clonans. "First," Orvex continued, "humans appear capable of setting aside personal conflicts during emergencies. This is unprecedented in Coalition records." Stick stepped forward. "Second, humans respond to danger with remarkable speed. Their reaction time was 0.8 seconds from crisis to action. Third," Galadrax added, "humans show no species bias in emergency response. They help the Clodans with the same urgency they would help their own kind." Shimmer of truth glowed brightly. "Fourth, and most surprising, humans can work as a team with no prior planning. They assign tasks among themselves without communication." "Commander," Orvex looked directly at the humans, "these traits are valuable, potentially more valuable than we initially understood." Frank raised his hand. "So we're not in trouble?" "No," Orvex replied. "Quite the opposite. The High Council wishes to learn more about humans. They believe your species may have unique capabilities that could benefit the Coalition." Jack couldn't hide his surprise. "Because of a bar fight?" "Because of what happened after the fight," Shimmer of Truth corrected. "Your ability to move from conflict to cooperation instantly is something we have never seen before." Eliza smiled. "It's just human nature. We argue and fight, but when something important happens, we pull together." "That is precisely what interests us," Orvex said. "No other species does this naturally. Others must be trained for emergency. Response: you do it instinctively." The next day, Jack received a formal message from the High Council. They requested that humans take on a special role in the Coalition teaching other species how to respond to emergencies. Jack met with his crew and Frank's miners to discuss the offer. "They want us to train their emergency teams," Jack explained. "They think humans have special abilities for crisis response." "All because Frank had too much to drink," Maria said with a laugh. Frank grinned. "Hey, I may have started it, but we all helped finish it." "The Coalition has never seen anything like us," Eliza added. "They've always categorized species as aggressive, or peaceful, logical, or emotional. We're both, depending on the situation." Alan nodded. "So a bar fight that didn't even happen might have just given humanity a special place in the galaxy. Who would have thought?" Jack said, shaking his head in wonder. Outside the room, the 3 alien observers listened to the humans' laughter. "I still don't understand them," Stick admitted. "Perhaps that is what makes them valuable," Shimmer of Truth replied. "They are unpredictable in ways we cannot program or anticipate." "One thing is certain," Galadrax bubbled. "The galaxy just became much more interesting." 1 week after the incident in the lounge, a grand ceremony was prepared on Nexus Station. The massive central hall had been decorated with symbols from all 27 Coalition species. Now, for the first time, Earth's blue and green flag hung among them. Captain Jack adjusted his formal uniform as he waited with his crew. Frank and the miners stood nearby, looking uncomfortable in the clean clothes they had been given for the occasion. "I still can't believe this," Frank whispered. "All this fuss because we almost had a fight. Because we worked together after." "Almost having a fight," Alan corrected him. That's what impressed them. The doors at the end of the hall opened. The High Council members entered one by one. Each looked completely different from the others. Some floated, some crawled, some walked on many legs. The leader was the most unusual of all a being, made of glowing energy contained in a beautiful metal frame. "That's the High Counselor," Eliza whispered, "the most respected leader in the Coalition." Everyone fell silent as the High Counselor approached the humans. The metal frame hummed gently as the energy being inside it pulsed with changing colors. "Welcome, humans of Earth," the High Counselor said, the translator giving the words a musical quality. "Today marks a special moment in Coalition history. For the first time, we recognize that our understanding of intelligent life has been incomplete." Jack stepped forward and bowed slightly. "We are honored, High Counselor. For thousands of years," the High Counselor continued, "we have classified species according to fixed patterns. Aggressive species remain aggressive. Peaceful species remain peaceful. Logical species act with logic. Emotional species act with emotion." The energy within the metal frame glowed brighter. "Humanity defies these classifications. You argue among yourselves over small matters, yet unite instantly when faced with real danger. You hold grudges for years, yet forgive enemies in moments of crisis. You are both highly individual and deeply collective." The humans exchanged glances. It seemed strange to be praised for traits they took for granted. The incident in the Nexus Lounge, what you call a bar fight, forced us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about intelligent behavior, the High Counselor said. "Our models failed because they assumed consistency. Humans are consistently inconsistent, adaptable in ways we had not imagined possible." Frank shifted uncomfortably. "You want to put us in charge of something because I had too much to drink and got rowdy?" Several aliens made sounds that the translators interpreted as laughter. "We wish to create a new position within the Coalition," the High Counselor explained. "A Department of Adaptive Response. And we wish humanity to lead it." "What exactly would this department do?" Jack asked. "Teach others how to respond to unexpected situations," Shimmer of Truth answered, floating forward. "Your natural ability to adapt, to set aside differences and work together in crisis. These are skills most species must learn with great difficulty." "High Counselor," Jack said carefully, "we're honored by your offer. But I should warn you there are many aspects of human behavior that might surprise or confuse you." "We are counting on it," the High Counselor replied. "The galaxy is not the stable, predictable place we once believed. Perhaps what we need most is a species that thrives on unpredictability." After the ceremony, the humans gathered in their quarters to discuss the offer. "So we're going to teach aliens how to argue 1 minute and work together the next?" Frank asked, shaking his head in wonder. "Basically," Maria replied with a smile. "Apparently that's a rare skill out here. I never thought our messy human nature would be seen as a strength," Eliza said. "They spent thousands of years trying to be logical and consistent. We show up, can break all their rules, and they love it." Jack looked out the window at the stars. "It's a big responsibility. We'll be representing all of humanity." "We already are," Alan pointed out. "And so far, bar fights aside, we're doing pretty well." 3 months later, the human team had grown. More ships from Earth had arrived at Nexus Station. The new Department of Adaptive Response had become the most talked-about addition to the Coalition in centuries. Jack sat in his office, reading reports from across Coalition space. Humans were working with 17 different species, teaching them emergency response techniques. The results were impressive. Accident survival rates had improved by 30% on worlds with human advisors. There was a knock at his door. Frank entered, wearing a uniform with the new department's symbol, a human hand reaching out to help. "You wanted to see me, Captain?" Frank asked. Jack smiled. "I'm not your captain, Frank. We're colleagues now." "Still feels strange," Frank admitted. "A few months ago, I was just hauling ore. Now I'm teaching alien emergency teams." "You're good at it," Jack said. "Your mining experience gives you practical knowledge most military personnel don't have." Frank nodded. Who would have thought getting into a bar fight would lead to all this? "Not just the fight," Jack reminded him. "How you helped afterward. That's what matters." A message appeared on Jack's screen. It was from Shimmer of Truth, who now worked closely with the human team. "The High Council has approved the expansion of your department," the message read. They also send news. 17 minor conflicts between Coalition members have been resolved through human mediation techniques. Your contradictory nature allows you to see multiple sides of a dispute in ways our logical species cannot. Perhaps humans' greatest gift to the galaxy will not be emergency response, but peace. Jack showed the message to Frank. "Peace?" Frank laughed. "Because of a species that gets into bar fights?" "Because we know how to stop fighting when something more important comes along," Jack said. "That's a lesson worth teaching." On Earth, news of humanity's special role in the Coalition was met with surprise and pride. For all their flaws and conflicts, humans had found their place among the stars, not despite their contradictions, but because of them. The galaxy would never be the same. And it all started with aliens witnessing a human bar fight.